Welcome in. It is a Clippers Talk After Dark. I'm Adam Moslin. Good to be with you guys. Coming up on the show, we will have a preview of tomorrow night's game in Sacramento. It's the front end of a back-to-back, their third back-to-back of the season. Remember, they will have 16 of these. So far, they're 2-2. They swept the first back-to-back. They got swept the second back-to-back. I got to be honest, this was the first day where I've been doing a show every day for maybe 3 weeks to a month right now, and I'm going to do it till the season is over. First day felt a little bit lethargic and rough day at AM 570. There were massive layoffs, and I just feel emotionally drained, and I didn't feel like doing this. And we just did Clips and Dip. But damn it, I feel like getting through this will actually make me feel better. And being with you guys will make today a little bit better. It was a rough one. So let's get into it. I'm going to talk about this Sam Amick article that came out on The Athletic a little bit earlier today. It is titled, "Why Letting Paul George Walk and Saying No to the Warriors Made Sense for the Clippers." Sam Amick is great at this. What's up, Bonesaw? What's up, 3 Dozen? What's up, Alex Webb? Of course, I'm pulling for the Clippers. I'm giving you a timeout. If you all keep trying to accuse me of being a Kings fan. 3 Dozen said, "Stay positive, Adam." I am. I'm feeling better already. Deca Fantastic said, "Adam, I had to stop listening to Clips and Dip to listen to the live stream." Well, make sure you go back and finish that episode. Sal said, "You're a great man, Adam." Not really. Love the 24/7 Clipper updates. Jazz said, just like I nonchalantly quickly said, "Not really." Joss said, "Did I miss something? What's wrong, Adam?" Everything's fine. Everything's fine. It was a tough day at AM 570 LA Sports. Okay. Don't want to get into that. I want a distraction. That's where you guys are going to help me. And doing this show is going to help me. So, this Sam Amick article, he's a 916 guy. He's also from Sactown, wrote for the Sacramento Bee forever. Alex Webb said, "Haha, just pulling your chain. Appreciate the content, man." I know, it's all good, my friend. Deca Fantastic said, "You're an okay man, but a damn good Clippers media member." I'll take that. You know, we love accuracy here. So, great man. That could get you time out. This article by Sam Amick feels like, I don't know, when did free agency open? Early July? Whatever that Sunday was when the Clippers and Paul George parted ways. I feel like it's 3 months late, 3.5 months late. It's not criticism on Sam Amick. It's just everything in this article is already well known by anyone who's been paying attention to the Clippers or listening to this show or Clips and Dip or Dime. If you are somewhat informed, you probably had an idea of what the Clippers were up to this summer and why they didn't sign Paul George to that extension or didn't want to go to $200 million, 4 years, and why they let him go for quote unquote nothing. Well, it's perplexing to some, not going to drop the C word, some casuals. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Well, it's perplexing to some. Draymond Green on his podcast was like, "Yeah, I can't understand why the Clippers just let him go for nothing when they could have gotten something for Paul George from Golden State." So maybe a little bit of bias from him there. They didn't let him go for nothing. I will repeat this for like the 100th time. And this is exactly what the Sam Amick article is talking about. And it's trying to bring more attention to this on a mainstream national level. And that's why he did it. And it was smart. I just cannot understand how people are enlightened within the Clippers fan base that has paid attention to myself or Law or any of the great Clippers reporters, Justin Brousseau, Tomer Azarli, Joey Lynn. Guys, they couldn't have gotten Nico Batum back or Derek Jones Jr., bringing him in, or Chris Dunn None of these guys are coming if they signed Paul George and were over the second apron. So to act like they lost him for nothing when it gave them the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, which is $13 million to use, which they use $10 million of it, I think, per year about on Derek Jones Jr., not getting the biannual exception, which I think is like $5 million, and they use some of that on Nico Batum. Like, what are we talking about? Of course they got stuff for Paul George. They got plenty. It's so low level to think that they lost Paul George for nothing. No, they ended up with 3 guys that they wouldn't have been able to get, not to mention the contract extensions that came with Terrence Mann and Ivica Zubac. It's just, my goodness. Joe Rosenfeld said, yes, like most mainstream media, there's a lazy, uninformed take on the Clippers, then always followed by a convenient, hey, the Clippers might actually be up to something take. I'm not saying Sam Amick didn't have an idea about these things. He's a high-level basketball guy. He knows ball. But I understand the timing of the piece coming out right after Paul George returns. I'm sure he had this one in the chamber for a while. It's just a false narrative when people say they got nothing for Paul George. They got the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, $13 million to work with. The biannual exception, like, come on. And they reloaded with defense, which I told you about. I mean, day one, as soon as they used that money on Derek Jones Jr., we knew they were going under the first apron. They have flexibility while being competitive and opportunistic moving forward when young stars might be available. That's what they got. That's exactly what the article outlines. It talks about the possible trades that were out there with Golden State and people still thinking that Kuminga was a possibility. No, he never was. That was BS spin from Tim Kawakami and I think the Golden State Warriors side, who give him stories to make them look better for that trade not going through, saying, hey, we made an offer. We had all these different options that the Clippers could have had. Kuminga was not an option for them. That wasn't happening. So here's a trade that was a possibility. It was Andrew Wiggins, Chris Paul, and Moses Moody, and a first-round pick for Paul George. That would put them above the second apron. Yes, they get a first-round pick. Yes, Moses Moody is a solid young player, and you know, the Golden State Warriors are playing really well right now overall. Let's see what Moody's stats are at. They're kind of doing whole is greater than the sum of its parts. He's getting 10 points. He is shooting 48% from 3, but I don't know if he has exactly star potential. Solid role player type of guy. CP3, a bloated contract. Andrew Wiggins, a big contract. He's playing better so far this season. You also don't know what you're getting from him at times. He has had a couple of years, and I know he's had some personal issues going on, but since they won in 2022, the production has been down overall. He's getting 16 points per game so far. He is shooting 41% from 3, 44% from the field. But that Andrew Wiggins contract is big. So does any of this put them over the top making this move? No. It just puts them into a place where maybe they're slightly better than they are now, but they're still not competing. And if they still don't have Kawhi Leonard, it doesn't matter. You're not going for a championship. They still need Kawhi back, as Wiggins is getting $26 million this year, $28 million next year, and then a player option for $30 million the summer of 2026, when the Clippers would like to be going big game hunting. And then that next season, Kawhi could be off the books in 2027. So they're staying prepared for the next big move. They were also interested in Pods. Golden State wasn't offering him, just like Kuminga. So there wasn't a great trade to be had. And so why would you take something back that's not going to give you a younger player to build around for the future, or at least like a grip of first round picks to refill the cupboard with? The Clippers did the right thing. They did. Alex Webb said it gives us flexibility for big game hunting in a few years, what I've been saying forever. Michael said, seems like there are just many coaches as players on the bench. Michael Torres said, glad to see Larry Drew back on the bench this year. Chelsea parents said they're not like us. Joe Rosenfeld said the fans calling for Moody to start over T-Man and Norm would have been fun for you this season. Alex Webb said Draymond said the Clippers didn't want to trade with the Clippers. Clippers did not want to trade with the Clippers, guys. Clippers didn't want to trade with the Golden State Warriors. They didn't want the scraps. Draymond, more spin. Like, why wouldn't they give up PG? They lost him for nothing. No, they did not. They got Derrick Jones Jr. because of it. Chris Dunn, Nico Batum back. It's just there wasn't a slam dunk, so to speak, trade out there for either a superstar back or a young guy with a ton of potential like Kuminga or Pods plus a first-round pick. They wanted to offload CP3's contract. They wanted to get rid of Wiggins' contract, and they'll give you Moody. That may be one first-round pick. That's not enough. So I've been saying this for like 3 months, and Sam Amick comes out and is like, oh, Real Light Years article here. And I'm not criticizing Sam Amick. I'm not. He's great at this. It's just anyone that's somewhat in the loop, this really is a non-story. It's good. National media can digest this and be a little bit more informed on why the Clippers didn't do it, I guess. Maybe Draymond Green can read this and actually understand the second apron and the salary cap and how restrictive it is and how you can have picks frozen or go to the back of the line and you can't aggregate trades. And there's so many restrictions that if you go into the second apron, you better make damn sure you're a contender. So were the Clippers going to be a contender with getting Moody and Wiggins? No. They still don't know if they're going to have Kawhi Leonard. It's just, it always comes down to Kawhi and his health. And if they get him back with the group they have right now, they're a live dog and dangerous in the Western Conference while having all this cap flexibility being under the first apron. That's better than having Wiggins and Moody with Kawhi, I think. Honestly, it gives them so many more options moving forward. Zachary points it out. Yes, we are under the first apron. We're able to sign a bunch of guys that help us finally have an identity. Some might say a system was the best move given the situation. I think so. I thought so long before this Amick article that I didn't find too enlightening, but it wasn't for me. I don't think it was for many of you guys. It's for outsiders who didn't see that the Clippers obviously have a plan to reload here in the near future. And without Paul George taking up all that salary cap, they will be able to do so. Oh, by the way, James Harden's on a 1+1. I don't think he mentioned that in his article. James Harden could be gone after this year. There's $35 million off the books. The Clippers could be working quick here, depending on what ends up happening this season and next summer. So even waiting for summer of 2026 and the possibility, however unlikely it may be, to get SJ or Luka Doncic should they become free agents, like Harden could be gone after this year. He's got a player option. I like James and what he means to this team right now, but the Clippers can make moves soon. Doesn't even have to be 2 years from now. And then if it's not 2 years from now, well, then Kawhi's off the books in 2027. And what are they going to have? Like $70 million? 80? Like they are going to be taking some big swings at players. This is the way to have that obligatory quote from The Mandalorian that I probably use too often be said one more time. So I'm not frustrated with the article. It's a good article. It's spot on. It's just 3 months late for most of us, right? It wasn't groundbreaking. The Clippers have a plan, a good one. I'm going on Rogan and Rodney tomorrow, and they were kind of wondering where the Clippers are at, which way they're going. And Kevin Figures brought this up on AM 570. Like, hey, this article, makes the Clippers sound pretty smart, actually, with what they're doing. Letting him go for nothing was never the case. They got stuff for him. And they got a victory against him last night, where the best player on the floor was the guy who replaced him in the starting lineup. Norman Powell has been incredible. He's shooting almost 49% from three so far this season in 8 games. But I would say forget just putting him in the three-point contest. Right now, at 25 points per game, 53, 48.5, 86 shooting splits, he should be in the All-Star conversation. It's way too early, but I'm just saying if he's putting those numbers up, anything close to that, because there's going to be some dip in the shooting percentages, but if he's getting close to 25 on very solid efficiency, yeah, Norman Powell doing everything he said, all the work that he's put in, this is who Norman Powell is. And I love it. Addition by subtraction. Bonesaw said it. Some also pointing out how his value is going sky high. So, I mean, if the Clippers, if Kawhi doesn't come back for a while and they're having a losing record, even with Norman Powell balling out, you never know what could happen. Everything is on the table. And that is because they didn't re-sign Paul George to a 4-year max contract. Or else they wouldn't be in this place where they could pivot quickly, where they can really have all the options in front of them when it comes to rebuilding and reloading quickly. Quickly, guys. John McClain said, yippee-ki-yay, Adam. Norman storming for this Clippers team. People saying he's gone up, 5 points in his rating on 2K. Decker Fantastic pointing out that Norman Powell is above LeBron James in player efficiency rating. I would hope so right now. Norm's also coming off of maybe his best passing game as a Clipper with those 6 assists and the type of passes he was making. Can't just count the assists, like watch the film. The type of passes he was making were special. He's showing growth in that area. He said he was working on it this summer. It bore some fruit against Paul George and the 76ers last night. So I just hope that, Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith could at least take a glance at this article and have somewhat of an understanding of what the Clippers are doing when people go out there and say, they don't have a plan. They should have re-signed Paul George. What were they thinking? They had a plan. Y'all are just behind per usual. What else is new? Hey, welcome into Clippers Talk Live. Appreciate you guys in here. I am, without a doubt, proud of this Clippers front office coming off that big victory against Paul George last night, but they're still going to see him in 3 weeks, and Joel Embiid will likely be available. Unfortunately, Tyrese Maxey has the hamstring issue now. Some people were bringing up something with Kyle Kuzma earlier, some trade rumor. I didn't see that. Did anyone else? I spoke on the Giannis Antetokounmpo one the other day. But again, the Clippers don't have the current assets to make a move for him. So even if he wanted out, that's not happening. I'm not seeing anything from any credible outlets regarding Kyle Kuzma and the Clippers. Somebody may just have been talking there. Quentin Cornett said, would they have been able to sign Chris Dunn? We doing this again? I'm good with it. Mike Dang said, I feel like Norm is the type to be an awesome in-game three-point shooter, but he would do terrible in a three-point contest. Send him to the All-Star game, though. That'd be dope. I don't think he'd do terrible. He's not going to put up a Michael Jordan-like performance in the three-point contest. Sam Sanatorium said, I don't have much to say right now, but I'm lurking. Don't do it, Sam. Don't do it. Juan Flores said, any word on Mo Bamba? Nip. Bay City RX7 said, hi, Adam. First a bump to Norm. Loving the 3 and the ball handling at the moment. Deca Fantastic said last Clippers game we rode the perfect the perfect norm instead of the perfect storm. That's good. Tim A said, I'm today years old when I found out that opposing teams can choose what side of the court they start games. Teams have been avoiding the wall in the second half. Obviously, you don't listen to me because I talked about it the first preseason game. That situation. The Phoenix Suns have gone against the wall twice. They didn't try to avoid it. What's funny is pregame, Philly's coming over to our side near the Clippers bench last night. The bench right there. And we're sitting over there on these heated chairs, heated and cooling chairs. You can go up and down on them pregame, probably, 2.5 hours before tip off. And Philly's coming over there to shoot on that basket. We said, uh-oh, they're coming to shoot on this side. That means they're going to be going up against the wall in the second half. Well, when they heard that, they said, wait a second. The Clippers bench is over here. Oh, no. We want to go over there. We want to go over there. It wasn't Nick Nurse, but some assistant coaches and some players picked up on what we were talking about with how if they were starting on that end, because they always shoot on the basket, they're going to be going towards in the first half. If they started there, they would have ended up going against the wall in the second half. And as soon as they heard us talk about that, myself and Tomer Azarli were chilling there, and Miriam Swanson, they were like, oh, no. We're going back the other way so we don't have to deal with the wall in the second half. It was funny. Paul George said he went 2 for 2 against the wall, so he beat the wall. That's how players are looking at it now. Fred James said Tucker, Bones, or Batum for Kuzma. That's what I heard. That's a timeout. They're not doing that. The Wizards would not do that. You heard nothing. You heard garbage. That's not anything close to something realistic. Deca Fantastic said, I do think that will help in the second half. Most teams like to go on their bench, usually to hear defensive calls, but they never will now. I agree with you. What's up, Mikey? Tim A said, I never knew that was even an option. I didn't learn it till this year either. Deca Fantastic said, that's an awesome story. Bonesaw said, yeah, timeout. I mean, this is a clear-cut timeout, right? Tucker, Bones, and Batum for Kuzma. I don't think the Clippers are trading Batum right now. And I don't think Michael Winger is going to trade Kyle Kuzma for those three anyways. What exactly is he getting out of that? Kuzma is an asset. The other teams in the league aren't trying to just help out the Clippers, guys. Mikey Ramirez said, you think if Norm keeps up this play, he can make an all-star game, or that's a pipe dream? I've been talking about it early on already. I know you just got in here, Mikey, but yes. If he could keep up this line, which he won't because the shooting numbers are far too hot right now, he's not going to end up shooting 49% from three on the season. But if he did for a couple of months, yeah, he would be voted an all-star most likely. Tim A said Batum has like an implied no trade clause. Yeah, pretty much, guys. They didn't bring him back to trade him again. Pretty sure that was the hitch in the trade initially. They didn't want to give him to Philly. That's why they held out for so long. Ray said, more people need to join the wall, not just the supporters section. Help us maintain that energy everywhere on that side. I like that. Bay City YRX7 said, when is the Terminator back? I'll be back. I don't know when Kawhi Leonard's coming back. And if I did, I probably wouldn't be able to say it. But I don't, because no one knows, because Kawhi doesn't know, because it depends on how his knee responds to the treatments. So if Kawhi can't know yet, how can anyone else know? I don't even have a ballpark time. We just know he's out for the rest of this week at least. Deca Fantastic said, overall, we need more ship-based puns in the radio broadcast regarding Norm, Storm and Norm, setting sail, expect high seas and three-point breezes. Some of those are a little cheesy, corny, over the top, but I get what you're saying. Alex Webb said Kawhi must loved his padded heated seat. That seems like a shot. Kawhi wants to play, guys. I don't know if you've been paying attention to some of these shows we've been doing, but BJ Matthews from the Pull Up Podcast has been on with me, and then I went on with him, and he used to play at a lower level. Kawhi does not work as hard as he does, train as hard as he does to turn into the player that he did when he wasn't an offensive player at all to start off in the NBA coming out of San Diego. Kawhi does not do all this all summer so he can not play in games. The fun part is playing in games. The hard work is all the training during the summer, which Kawhi has been doing. He's not healthy yet. Mike Dang said Intuit Dome parking is too expensive. I keep hearing this. Ray said No One Knows is a great song. Bay City is sad by that news. I'm sorry, I don't have anything for you. Mikey Ramirez said the wall has been fun as heck, but with supporter section, you can get free parking, I think. Is that true, guys? That'd be big. Props to the wall again. Last night, you guys were phenomenal. Every time Paul George touched the basketball, he was being booed. That's probably why he's got a Funja face on, as my Sicilian grandparents would say. He looks a little bit sad there. Clippers bench. Looks like they're on one. I love it. Alex Webb said, I will say Kawhi is smiling a lot on the bench. Seems he's enjoying this team's vibe. Yeah, there's a picture with him and James Harden. I'll see if I can find that here. He's got Kawhi smiling ear to ear. Here it is. I'll pull this up for you guys. Look at this. Look at the fun guy. For some reason, James Harden always gets him going. Always gets a smile out of Kawhi. I don't know if he smiled when he tried to defend Kawhi's three-pointer last year as a fun, hey, we're not playing very well, let's shake things up. So he did a closeout on a Kawhi three in the far side corner. But look at this. Look at this. Wow. Caught in 4K. So free parking for the first 150 people. That's really cool. Joshua Smith said the Clippers should go get Jalen McDaniels. He's a free agent after this year. You mean Jaden McDaniels? I think that's what you meant. Let me check his contract situation with Minnesota. I think you are right. But then again, people are often not right here. No. Oh, you didn't mean you meant Jalen. Jaden just signed a contract. Again, guys, the whole forward thing has been beyond overdone and overplayed. They haven't lost any games because of the power forward position. They've been good rebounding. They've been good with their defense. Quentin said, what's wrong with my question, Adam? Just wanted to know if we could have signed Dunn if the PG trade was made. I'm pretty sure they couldn't have because the Dunn contract needed to match Russell Westbrook's, and their contracts did not match. So I'm going to say no. Regardless, they still wouldn't have been able to get Batum or Derrick Jones Jr. Art H said, wow, haven't seen Kawhi smile like that in years. I mean, he smiled like that in training camp last season. I saw it a ton. Mike Dang said his finger. Jalen McDaniels is Jaden's brother. I mean, could there be a reason that Jalen McDaniels is a free agent? I don't know. Typically, good players aren't just hanging out. I know he was with, the Hornets. Who else was he with? So he's 26. He was with Toronto last. He's 6'9", small forward. He has some shooting potential, I guess, from three, which is why people are interested in him because he could be a power forward that stretches the floor, but it's never materialized. And again, why is he a free agent? Anybody got an answer for that? Teams typically don't let good players that could help them just hang out there when they could at least give them a vet min. Joe said, if Norm maintains this scoring, he'll end up having the second best points per game average in modern Clippers history, more than CP3, Blake, and PG ever averaged in a season. It's early, but worth noting. Yeah, it is early. And if Kawhi comes back, his scoring average is obviously going to go down. Mike Dang said, Harden asking Kawhi to smell his finger. You guys. Joshua Smith said the Spurs waived him. Cool. Why is nobody picking him up? Asian Domination said, could Dunn take Man's starting spot? Oh, I get this every single Clippers Talk Live. Yes, he could. He could. I thought Terrence Mann was better last game. He had a really good third quarter, made some big plays, had that Terrence Mann spark to him to start the third, where the Clippers really made their move and ran away with it. Although a lot of that was James Harden near the end of the third quarter. I think he scored 10 straight for the Clippers by himself. M7MD Boys said, is there an actual way for Harden to fix his turnovers? I already know his offensive responsibilities, but it shouldn't be this much in a single game. I mean, the careless ones, yeah. The careless ones, the unnecessary ones, yeah. It's one thing to turn it over when you're being aggressive, going downhill, you lose the basketball, you're trying to get a layup, you're in traffic. It's another to just have a really bad pass, trying to push the ball up the floor. That was completely unnecessary. James Bond said, or Bond said, when do you anticipate the clause return? I can't do this. MKXLNT said, no days off. Good evening, Clipper Nation, late shift. William Blast in here now. Peace, Adam. Peace, my friend. Okay. I do want to preview tomorrow's game against the Sacramento Kings. Stewie's got a question, though, that I don't hate. Stewie B. Stewie said, speak on your fandom history. How did you end up as a Clippers guy? Well, I was an anti-Lakers guy, and the Clippers are kind of counterculture in LA. And I like the underdog teams, and I like the lesser appreciated teams and players. And I was from Sacramento, so I knew about that life. They fit me well, this Clippers team. And I really like the knuckleheads. I remember watching them in a game in Arco, and this was early 2000s, and Darius Miles all pregame was just like taking half-court shots. But it was fun, and I loved it. I love the 2006 team. Elton Brand is really underrated because he peaked for a very small length of time, and people forget just how dominant he was. He could play at a top 5 level at times when he was on one. Just check out the highlights of him in the 2006 playoffs. Sam Cassell was also one of my favorite players ever, and they got him. Cat Mobley, loved him. Joshua Smith said, how do you feel about Bobby Portis? They're not getting Bobby Portis. I like him. They do too. Why would they give him up? Who are the Clippers giving up to get Bobby Portis back, who's a legacy guy that won a championship in Milwaukee? How would I evaluate the Beard's season thus far? I'd probably go honestly, B- to a B, because he's keeping guys moving station to station. He's keeping the offense going. And I think without him, they probably score 75 or 80 points in a game. No lie. He does so much. Didn't realize it was another back-to-back, said X-Mongo Project. Get used to those. I mean, they only 32 of their 82 games are back-to-backs, guys. Or either the first half or the second half of back-to-back. Just 32. 3 Dozen said, hey, Adam, what was your favorite cartoon as a kid and movie? Cartoon was probably Transformers or Ninja Turtles. Movie, Transformers the movie, 1986, is still my favorite all-time movie. X-Mongo Project said, didn't realize. Yes, I got that. Deca Fantastic talking about Sacramento. I'll get to them in a little bit. I would say, I don't know. They're different in a lot of ways, too. We'll talk about that. Alex Webb said, love the Knucklehead podcast. So much nostalgia. Juan said, Zubats plays well against the Kings, typically. Zachary said, would you have been happy with 6-4 with our first 10 minus Kawhi? Yes, because I said I'd be happy with 5-5. So, of course, I'd take 6-4. I think it would be a great start, especially given we have chances to win every game and had 10-point plus leads in all of them. I think they're going to end up splitting the next two and end up going 5-5 in their first 10 games. But if they go 6-4, I will be very happy. William Blast said Elton Brand was an anchor for several seasons, a walking post bucket. He had extremely long arms and great touch around the basket. Remember, he and Chris Kaman would stretch their arms out and show that Chris Kaman, while taller, I think had the same wingspan as Elton Brand because he just had really long arms. Deca Fantastic said Clippers never have a normal game against Sacramento. Joshua Smith said the Bucks want PJ, so no, they don't. They don't want PJ. That is a timeout. They're not giving up Bobby Portis for PJ Tucker. Stewie be stewing said, "Woo, I'm NorCal too. Gave up on NBA for years after Lakers versus Kings. Man, that took years off my life, that series in 2002. The Lakers getting 27 free throws in the fourth quarter of a must-win Game 6. I repeat, they got 27 free throws in one quarter, the fourth in a must-win Game 6. Now we can move on. James Bond said, do you expect the Clippers to make a trade to make a play for the Western Conference? If so, what level of player? Guys, you know the addition they're still waiting for? His name's Kawhi Leonard. You should not be giving up assets and young guys for anyone until you see if Kawhi can stay relatively healthy for a sustained period of time. I'm not even sure. Like, they don't need to make some big move. What the move is to get Kawhi Leonard back and get him healthy. Start there. Period. Joe Rosenfeld said, going to ask one that may never get asked, how do you and Carlo handle a potential sneeze in the middle of a broadcast? You just kind of like hit the cough button like I didn't there. Deca Fantastic said, no one wants PJ. Even sneaker stores are like, hey, man, that's enough. Clippers always make a trade. The trade is PJ for a box of scraps. I mean, they didn't at the trade deadline last year. You can say the trade they made was for James Harden before at the beginning of the year, but they didn't make a trade at the trade deadline. I'm not saying they won't, but saying these guys like Zach LaVine or Brandon Ingram or these big swings, that it does not make sense unless they just want to give those guys away. But Zach LaVine has that player option in the summer of 2026 and could really hurt you for making a big move. William Blast said, I'm a Clippers fan back to the 80 Derek Smith versus Michael Jordan at the Sports Arena. An amazing memory. Check out the Ralph Lawler documentary. Sit down interview I had. Part 2 of that here on this channel at Clippers Talk. We discussed Derek Smith and exactly that game with the great Ralph Lawler. M7MG Boys said, at this point, someone here might ask if we can get Giannis for PJ Tucker. Right? Like, what do y'all want from me? I'm not trying to be a know-it-all, but my God, we can't trade PJ Tucker for Bobby Portis. They're not doing that. I'm tired. I'm tired of the ridiculous trades. MKX LNT said, Clippers fans always have great origin stories. They really do. Clippers fans are the best fans, the most loyal fans. You know how I know that's true? Because they're still here. They've been through everything, and they're still here. Not many would be able to survive everything that Clipper Nation has been through. Built different. All right, let's talk Sactown. Tip-off is at 7. We'll have your pregame show right back here at 6 tomorrow. So a little bit of a preview. Kings are 5th best offensively. When it comes to offensive defensive ratings, that's what we typically start with. Kings have the 5th best offensive rating. Clippers 21st, which has gone up a little bit over the last couple of games because they're starting to hit some three-pointers. Actually, a lot of them. Kings 11th on defense. That's more than solid. They've been trying to get better in that area. Clippers are 5th now, bumped up 2 spots after the game against Philadelphia, holding them to 98 points. It was the first game so far this season they held a team under 100 points. We know they did it in the preseason, but now in the regular season. The Kings are only shooting, and I'm scared to say this because I'm sure it's going to turn around against the Clippers. They're only shooting 32.5% from 3 so far this season. Remember in the preseason, Kings couldn't hit anything from 3, not just against the Clippers, in the preseason completely. They were absolutely ice cold from 3. They have stayed ice cold. The Clippers, meanwhile, are bumped up to now pretty much a league average, 36.6% from three, when 2 games ago, they were at 33% from three. But you shoot 51% from beyond the arc against San Antonio, and then 41% last night against Philly, and now they're at 36.6%, almost 37% from three. I think anywhere 37% and up would be solid for this team from distance right now. So how are the Kings fifth on offense, even though they're just 32.5% from distance? Well, they have the second best 2-point percentage in the league at almost 59% on twos. They're only behind the Cleveland Cavaliers there, who are still undefeated. So the Kings get it done in the traditional sense. The Clippers, they're shooting 54% on twos. It's solid. It's decent. But the Kings, they've been great. Less than 5 feet, they're second in the league, shooting 72.3%. Clippers just 64.3%. That's still, I think, just outside the top 10. It's not bad. The Kings are just great there. Less than 5 feet out, they're making everything right now. A lot of that, of course, Domantas Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox, getting downhill, getting everything to go in the layup line near the restricted area. From 5 to 9 feet out, the Kings are eighth at 47.5% from the floor. Clippers, 43.9%. That's solid. And then from 10 to 14 feet out, the Kings are shooting 49.4%. That is top 10 for sure. Might be top 5. The Clippers are at 46%. It's solid. The Kings are just really good at those 2-point shots from 5 feet to 14 feet out. Struggling from 3, but money from 2. DeMar DeRozan helps them in that area, of course. Kings are also doing a much better job taking care of the basketball than your Los Angeles Clippers. Kings are just at 13.4 turnovers per game. Clippers at 17 turnovers per game after having, 19 last night. Opponent turnovers. Remember, the Clippers got 20 turnovers that they turned into 27 points against Philly. That is a great number. 27 points on 20 turnovers is unbelievable. So while they turned the ball over, I think maybe 20 times themselves against Philly, when they got Philly to turn it over, the Clippers went to work. The Kings, they turn teams over 15.3 times per game. That's strong. The Clippers are at 14.9. Still solid. Clippers at 52 points in the paint, though. Kings at 49 points in the paint. Clippers are 26th in pace. The Kings at 16th in pace. They're playing a little bit slower than you would have thought, probably, considering a couple of years ago they were really high up there when it came to pace. But they're trying to slow things down a little bit more and be a better defense, and the Kings are. They're 11th so far on the defensive end. They made some strides there last season. Progressively, they're getting a little bit better on the defensive end, and if they could still be a top 5 offense, then they'll be in business. Clippers, though, 3rd in rebounding percentage. Kings are 8th, and I'm still surprised at how good the Clippers have been on the boards overall this season. Now, who are the guys on the Kings that aren't hitting three-pointers that you got to watch out for tomorrow night? Well, De'Aaron Fox is only shooting 29% from 3 so far. Keegan Murray's at only 31% from 3. Malik Monk is only at 31% from 3. Kevin Huerter is only at 36% from 3. Keon Ellis is only at 35% from 3. All these guys are much better three-point shooters than they have shown so far this season. That progression to the mean could be coming soon. Hopefully not against the Clippers. Their 2-point shooting percentage is keeping them in it, thanks to DeMar DeRozan, who's at 53% from the floor so far. In fact, I want to see what DeMar is shooting from 2, because he's actually at 38% from 3 on 2.5 attempts per game. DeMar DeRozan has been bringing that 3-point shot up a little by little over the years. He's taken a few more 3-pointers. His 2-point percentage, though, right now is at 55%. I mean, just unbelievable. And he is leading the Kings in scoring. It's not De'Aaron Fox. It's their pickup with DeMar. DeMar's at 26 points per game. De'Aaron Fox is at 24 points per game. Domantas Sabonis, he's at 20 per game, plus 13 boards and 7 assists. Remember, he set the, I think, record for big men when it came to triple-doubles last year. Keegan Murray's at 15 points per game. Malik Monk at 13. Kevin Huerter at 12. So they got 6 guys averaging double digits scoring-wise. They're good. top 5 offense, and really they could be better. They start knocking down some of these three-pointers, and they have the guys to do it. That could be a problem. All right, back to some of your comments here. Who was talking about the Kings earlier? I said we would get to this. Oh, I looked at it. Said they were mirror images. I don't think they're mirror images. Mio said, is De'Aaron Fox having a slow start? Yeah, somewhat for his standards. Joshua Smith said, you be timing people out for no reason at all, so I timed out just because I saw somebody online. You need to chill out. I'm not doing it for no reason at all. Nobody thinks that, except the people who make bad comments that get timed out because they think you can trade PJ Tucker for Bobby Portis. That's not a timeout for no reason at all. It's a timeout because it's unproductive and I don't have time for it. Hence, time is not on your side. John McClain said Kings can go. Okay. Stewie said, am I wrong or does Zoo usually outplay Sabonis? You are kind of wrong. He's had some good games against him. So we were looking at this earlier on Clips and Dip. Domantas Sabonis against Ivica Zubac in 13 games is averaging 17 and 11 and 5 assists. Now, he's playing 31 minutes per game in those 13 games. Ivica Zubac, I believe, is only at 25 minutes per game. So Domantas Sabonis is getting 6 more minutes per game in these 13 games between the two. So Zubac is getting 11 and 8 against him, 2 assists. So Domantas Sabonis has been overall better against Big Zoo, but Big Zoo hasn't been bad. And if you give him more minutes, then it becomes a level playing field and a fair fight. Mickey Ramirez said, they need to wait for Kawhi because this team looks good. KPJ hasn't played for a year, so just have to let him continue to get coached up. And Amir has been hot these past 2 games. Amir's having a good start to the season. I want to see what he's shooting now from 3 because he shot, people forget, Amir Coffey's been a bucket from distance. He shot 38% from 3 last year. He's been good. Like, he's had, let's see, 3 seasons where he shot 38% or above from 3. Now, it's not on extremely high volume, but it's there. It's not nothing. Right now, he's at 60% from 3. It's early. It won't stand forever. X-Mongo Project said, I'm more worried about Monk. Thank Fox. He tends to be the wild card. Yeah, he can swing a game. Malik Monk hit that 3-pointer off, I think it was a misplayed defensive play by Norman Powell in the 176-175 game, maybe to get into the first or into the second overtime in the second highest scoring game ever. Again, Joshua Smith, see, if I put you in timeout right now for saying things that are incorrect, it would also not be for no reason. You're saying I'm using a timeout on people for no reason when I'm using a timeout when somebody's saying that you can trade PJ Tucker for Bobby Portis. Do you understand? I'm not trying to make anyone less intelligent with their basketball opinions. I'll put it like that. M7MD Boys said, do you think that Norm could lose his focus when it comes to shooting and scoring after being passive for a few minutes? Or is he that great of an offensive player he can do both? After being passive for a few minutes, I don't think, like, Norman Powell isn't featured all the time on offense. He has hot streaks where they go to him a little bit more. So I think Norm is fine. William Blast said Amir needs to stay aggressive, make or miss. He's an X factor every night. Monk is dangerous. Derrick Jones Jr. versus DeMar DeRozan. Could see that. I think he'll be on De'Aaron Fox some too. He's good against some of those quicker guards. He's better than Terrence Mann there. Joshua Smith still talking for no reason. Mio said Derrick Jones Jr. shooting well from 3. We need our wings like him and Coffey to hit their shots. Seems like they're gaining confidence over the last couple of games. Well, it's because they're getting a lot of open 3-pointers right now. The Clippers have really made an emphasis to pass out of the short roll. So the ball handler gets blitzed. 2 guys go on him. he gives it up to a guy in the pocket, which is like center of the key around the free throw line. And then that guy has a decision to make. Does he drive? Does he kick out to the far side corner to an open shooter as the defense is collapsing down on him? And they've been making the right decision often. Ivica Zubac has, Derrick Jones Jr. has. At Fly By Night, Justin Rousseau is highlighting right now in his Substack just how good Derrick Jones Jr. has progressed, or how much he has progressed with his passing. Tim A said Sabonis cooked us in the preseason with his passing from the high post and elbow. Our wing defenders have to be on their game with covering cutters. Agree. It's a great point. Adrian said, do you think Kobe Brown will play good amounts of minutes or no? Just a question. Well, he hasn't so far, so no. Mio said timeout to the box. There you go. John McClain knows. PJ Tucker for Bobby Portis. What are we doing? That's what I'm saying, man. You're not getting 2 seconds for Tucker. First of all, you have to match some of the salary. He makes $11 million. You can't just take back 2 seconds. Mike said T-Man over under 7 points tomorrow. I'm going over. I feel confident about it. Terrence Mann had some nice moments in that third quarter, knocking down a big three, bullying. Who was it? It was Tyrese Maxey, I think, on the right block. So he did have 7 points last game, 3 of 6, 1 of 3 from the outside in 21 minutes. Like that, I'm taking the over against Sacramento. Feel like Terrence Mann obviously has been due, but better performance, playing his role better, which is provide some of that energy. When the Clippers have had big comebacks in the past, Terrence Mann has always sparked them in the third quarter. He needs to do so now when he's in the starting lineup to open the quarter and not wait for them to get down. Just bring it immediately. And they have found him in first quarters. Mio said he shot when he was open. I'll take it. Yep. Narabot said, I'm coming to see Intuit from Atlanta on Saturday. Right on. You're going to enjoy that one. Clippers taking on the Toronto Raptors. Raptors are struggling. I should probably tell you who the Kings have played and their win-loss record if I'm doing a preview on the game. You're better than this, Adam. 10-second timeout for me. Extra beat there for good measure. Okay, so they lost their first 2 against Minnesota and the Lakers. Then they won 3 in a row. Beat the Blazers, the Jazz, the Hawks. Not great competition. Lost to Toronto on the road. Toronto's struggling. That's a bad loss. Miami, they won on the road. 111-110. That was the Sabonis game where he had the game winner, I believe. And then they just beat Toronto last night, 122-107, to get some revenge. That was at Golden One Center. So Sacramento's 5-3. They really haven't played their best ball because they're not shooting that well from 3 so far. They can shoot much better. I'm scared about that. I don't want to see that. Yeah, Sabonis had that putback against Miami for the win. Mike Dang, a little wordplay. If Terrence doesn't step up, he's done. Or he's Amired. William Blast said Terrence scores in the first and third quarter, often rarely in the second and fourth. That might be because he doesn't play very often in the second and fourth quarter, William. Might have something to do with it. X-Mongo Project said, what's a safe lead for garbage time nowadays? Yesterday, I still felt we could lose the game even in garbage time. Nah. I think were they up 18 with 4 minutes left? Something like that. I mean, I just went over the numbers. Sabonis has been good against Ivica Zubac, too. If you just look at the couple of dunks Zoo has had on Sabonis, sure. But it's more than that. A lot more. I do think it's a good matchup, though, for Zoo. He's bigger. He's stronger. I'm trying to remember, what did Zoo do against Sabonis in that preseason game? Let's see here. When the Clippers won big over Sacramento, Sabonis had 24 and 27 minutes. 9 boards, 5 assists, 7 of 14 shooting. Ivica Zubac in 15 minutes had 8 points, 3 boards, 3 of 4. That is a battle. That's a fun one. I'm looking forward to it. Adrian said, is Amir more of a priority than Terrence? What do you mean by priority? Explain. Mike said, Bones was atrocious last night. Why did he run into the corner where Kobe Brown was? I don't know. That was some unserious basketball. Mike Dang said, Bones did not make the most of his garbage time yesterday. Narrator says, no, he did not. Robert said, Big Zoo player of the game tomorrow. I like that call. Who do you guys got? You want to do some player of the game picks? I went with Amir Coffee for my pick because I'm not allowed to pick Big Zoo on Clips and Dip. But on the pregame show, I can do what I want, I guess. Who do you guys got for the player of the game tomorrow against Sacramento? Who's the key guy? Who's the X factor? You can even say James Harden at this point because he hasn't shot it well. He is overdue. They keep telling me those season legs, they just got to kick in, Adam. Don't you know? We'll see. Oh, meaning who's most likely to be traded between Amir and Mann? Well, Amir makes far less than Terrence Mann. So I guess it depends on the move, but Amir's played better. I'd say Terrence Mann might get traded before Amir at this point. But then again, if they have to package someone with PJ Tucker and Bones or something, then Amir might be involved. I hope not. Mike's got Norm. Oh, that's too easy. The guy's averaging 25 per game. Come on. X Mongo Project has Zoo. Stewie by Stewie says DJ. DJ was really good against Paul George and the 76ers. Did he have 2 or 3 dunks? The one with the left hand off the lob from Norman Powell was my favorite highlight dunk of the game. But Derrick Jones Jr., 5 of 6, went 1 of 2 from the outside after he struggled the last 2 games shooting-wise. That's what I like to see. And I got to tell you this, I saw Derrick Jones Jr. putting in extra work pregame from distance after he went 1 of 9 and 4 of 10, and then he goes 5 of 6 against Philly. So the work worked out. Mike said Norm is the man. Nair Debat said Storm and Norman. He's a ringer at this point. I mean, of course he's getting 25. Mike Dang said, oh, big KPJ game. Okay. What did Kevin Porter Jr. go? 1 for 4 last game? Cut to the basket for his only make, I think. KPJ, yeah, 1 of 4. Was a +8. Mio said, to win, it has to be Zoo or a great defensive game from Derrick Jones Jr. paired with some triples. So you're picking 2 guys against the rules. William Blast said he'll stick with Norm. He's consistent. Yeah, he's a bucket. Deca Fantastic says, it's Harden for sure. Kings have offensive guards. We can stop some, but we also need a counter. I don't hate this because if Harden gets matched up against Monk some and De'Aaron Fox, he can possibly get going against them. Hadrian says, I think Jordan Miller won't be getting a chance. Okay. Is that your player to not watch? John McClain said, Zoo ate and destroyed Drummond. Now he'll eat up DeMontis. Let's go, Big Zoo. John McClain is a wild card. And he might have to time out hard if he keeps using the language. Nair Bot said, done on Fox will be fun to watch also. I agree. Miles Johnson said, is Norm a better scorer than Harden now? He can't create like Harden can for himself, but he is getting better in that area, and he's so efficient. Depends on how you look at score. Shooter, yes. Score, no. X Mongo Project said, done 2 steals against Fox. Prediction. Nice. William Blast said, I still have high hopes for KPJ despite the slow start and bad turnovers. He has gotten better last handful of games. Miles Johnson said, wonder if Harden will ever have an efficient stretch with Kawhi out. Here's a hot take. Die Hard 2, the best? Really? He blows up the plane at the end? The snow with the snowmobile scene. I don't know if I go with that. Did Carl Winslow, he was in that one too. Was he working from afar remotely? As many of us do now. I don't know. I think Die Hard with a Vengeance is better. Samuel L., Jeremy Irons. Ties in with the first one, the bad guy. I can't speak for any Die Hard since then. Yeah, I mean, one's still the best. And yes, it's a Christmas movie. If it takes place around Christmas, it's a Christmas movie. Stewie B. Stewie said, "Who is the best value new pickup and why is it done?" Yeah, you just answered your own question. That was funny. Why is it done? Because he's a plus out there. He's another Nico Batum. He just doesn't make bad plays. X Manga Project said, the ones after 3 didn't happen. William Blast said, no way. Die Hard 3 and Die Hard 1, absolute classics. That's what I said. 2's a hot take. I respect it, Mike. I'm not hating. Can we get John McClane to pipe in? Can we get the final answer from John McClane here? Who's in the chat? The Fry guy said, done. He's going to shut down DeRozan like he did KD's first game, calling it. Was KD really shut down? I don't know if I go that far. He had plays against him. He stripped him. He embarrassed him on a play. That's for sure. Yeah, you just sick Chris Dunn and that dog that's in his rib cage on everyone. He's a badass. Love him. My new favorite Clipper. I said that in the offseason. I didn't need to see a game yet. I know what he was going to bring. What do you guys? Chris Dunn casuals? CD Cash? Katie. That was a Cash comment by me. Spells it Chris with a K. I'm getting tired, boys. I'm going to peace out. I hope you enjoyed the preview and a little recap of the Athletic article by Sam Amick, who does do a great job. Maybe I'll have him on. It's not a bad idea. I'm a fan. All right. Tomorrow night, Clippers up in Sactown, Golden One Center. Tip time at 7. Pregame starts at 6. Right back here on Clippers Talk on the YouTube side. If you need to get to me, I'm at Follow Adam A on X. That would be known as Twitter to some. And then at Clippers Talk on TikTok, at Clippers Talk, follow Adam A on the gram. Appreciate you guys. Stewie B. Stewie says good show. William Blast with a different piece. Peace out this time. X Mongo said higher likelihood of winning, Sac or Toronto? Toronto's the higher likelihood, even though it's a second night of a back-to-back. Back home, Toronto, they have the, I think, 30th ranked defense in the NBA right now. Ray said, let's effing go Clips. We have the answer. John McClane says, Adam better have a watch party for all Die Hard movies. All? I thought there's Die Hard movies we don't speak of. All right. Yippee-ki-yay, mother effers. I'm out of here. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Even Joshua, who was butthurt because I think he got muted or he got a timeout for 10 minutes for saying that the Clippers could trade PJ Tucker for Bobby Portis. What do you want me to do? You know the rules here. First rule of Clippers Talk. Do not talk about PJ Tucker trades for Bobby Portis or trade for Jeremy Grant. X Mongo said, think before you speak. Was that to me or Joshua? I'm trying, okay? Adam, think before you speak. I will talk to you guys tomorrow night at the latest. Appreciate you all. As always, this has been another edition of Clippers